In Iowa, Senator Bernie Sanders is on the campaign trail. He's continuing his calls for climate action and holding a series of town halls focused on green jobs. However, last night he took aim at billionaire businessman Michael Bloomberg as the former mayor considers entering the presidential race.
So tonight we say to Michael Bloomberg and other billionaires, sorry, you ain't gonna buy this election.
NBC's Road Warrior Shaquille Brewster is with the Sanders camp and joins me right now. And Shaq, you just spoke with Senator Sanders. What did he have to say about Bloomberg's possible entry into the race?
Well, he's been having a lot to say about that over the past couple of days. He just wrapped up an event here in Orange City, Iowa. It's in a conservative, more rural area of the state, and he's been focused on climate change. He had those events with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez over the past couple of days. But it was last night when he made those comments that you just played about Mayor Bloomberg entering this race. I just got to speak to him backstage, and I got to ask, what spurs this energy? Why does he get upset with the prospect of Michael Bloomberg entering the race? Listen to what he had to say.
I think the American people are sick and tired of billionaires continuing to have so much influence over the economic life of this country and the political life of this country. Look, a lot of people would like to run for president of the United States, but they don't have $52 billion. They're not going to be able to buy all of the media in California and in other states. And I think that we have got to move away from a system which grants so much power to people who have money. And that's about it.
And part of the issue that Senator Sanders seemingly has is this idea that Mayor Bloomberg, as his team is signaling, may skip these early primary and caucus states and go straight to Super Tuesday and invest in those bigger states with more delegates. This weekend, Senator Sanders has had several events here in Iowa. He's traveled nearly 1,000 miles on the road from town to town and interacted with about 7,000 people, according to the campaign. So he takes issue with the fact that you're not putting in the work as a candidate and that you can kind of just jump in and have a serious campaign in this race and not doing what other candidates are doing. Candace?
Senator Sanders there in a relatively conservative part of Iowa and getting quite a bit of an audience out there. Our thanks to Shaq Brewster.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.